was told, well, the train is just moving too fast. I was like, but I'm not on it.
I'm at the station.
Yeah,
I've been left. I feel like you don't have to be a manager, unfortunately, to know the wrong ways to do it. We are going to be reading some Reddit stories and giving you career advice. Okay, managers, because we have many thoughts.
Oh, we're recording already?
No, I just started recording. Oh my god.
Oh, okay,
Okay, I got it. I can
many
unlock
opinions.
this. I can do it. I believe in myself.
Been a manager like once, and I already know all the right and wrong ways to do it.
I feel like you don't have to be a manager, unfortunately, to know the wrong ways to do it.
Yeah, but I guess whenever people do talk about management, it's like, don't come with problems, come with solutions.
I'm like, well, sometimes you can come with problems.
Yeah, all the time. Like, you get paid way more than me. Why am I doing your job?
Yeah, I'm like, sometimes I can, in fact, come with problems.
Yeah.
But if I had come with solutions, then I feel like I get like brownie points.
Yeah. I also feel it's different. I've been in the corporate world, and I feel like someone in retail or service industry will have completely different management.
Okay, now that we've chit-chatted a bunch in front of you, welcome to the Head of the Table podcast. As you can tell, this is a slightly different format. I have one of my best friends in the whole world here, Katerina, and we're still going to stick to our theme of being your wonderful advisors on career advice, on leadership, on being fluffy dogs. Charlie, come here. But we are going to be reading some Reddit stories and giving you career advice. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Okay.
All three of us.
Come saddle. You're going to offer all the career advice. Yes. Saddle. Saddle. Okay. There we go. And this week's episode, we're talking about managers. Ooh. Have you had like a favorite manager?
I feel like I've been very lucky. I feel like the last 3 managers I've had have been absolutely phenomenal for the different like parts of my life at the time. So
yeah,
had a good balance.
No, that's so lucky. I feel like I remember like the best managers I've ever had and the worst managers.
Absolutely. If you're a mediocre manager, you're not making the footnotes of the biography.
Well, we have a couple of stories today. I'm really excited. So Katerina has not like seen any of these unless she's just been on Reddit way too much.
I'm trying not to be. I'm trying to avoid the media right now. So surprise me. Let's go.
So the first one is under the R Managers subreddit. And it is called Losing My Best Report.
Okay, as a best report. I get it, boo.
So this is a manager for 3 years, and they just lost their like best person. So my best guy gave me his resignation notice today, changing career direction and better pay at a large company, offered a pay bump from the manager, but they declined. And it feels like my girlfriend is breaking up with me. He was my go-to guy. This sucks.
Aww. Oh, you poor baby. I have no sympathy for you.
Well, okay. I feel like this could be, especially with like the career change direction, like maybe this isn't that they were a bad manager.
It's also, I feel like information is missing because I would want to know if this individual is being honest or if they're being like not burning any bridges in their details, during their exit interview.
Yeah, like it sounds like they gave notice, so they didn't just leave one day. And I think it's hard with these too, because like I've definitely left jobs where I'm like, well, I'm taking the next step in my career. I got such an amazing opportunity, and really I'm just like, I don't want to work here anymore.
Yeah, which
is fine. Like I loved my time, but
so I don't know. I feel like there's very rarely where people in mature careers will choose to make really significant changes like that outside of academia, either going and getting an MBA or another kind of degree. In fact, usually people find the kind of company that they prefer to be in, and they'll stay there. So having that excuse of like really going and changing so many things about their life it makes it seem like it's a secondary reason to me. I think money's the number one reason.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. This doesn't say like ages.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll say like their age, and I would be curious. But I have a couple of comments that stood out.
Let's do it.
So the first one is I am Hambone. The story is from Hombre Lobo, which these like always crack me up. The usernames are ridiculous. And this user says, if you could offer him a pay bump now, you could have been paying him more for a while. Sometimes we take rock stars for granted. This is a tough lesson to learn, but we all learn it. Retention needs consistent effort. I bet you make sure your next guy is very happy.
Yeah, and I unfortunately bet that manager does not. I think it's so easy to just be jumping from fire to fire and being so busy, while your best performers are busy being optimistic and doing the best that they can. And very recently I had a personal example where I questioned my lack of participation on a certain project that I had been leading for a very long time, and I was told, well, the train is just moving too fast. I was like, but I'm not on it.
I'm at the station.
Yeah,
I've been left.
I built the station, I built the tracks, and it's just moving too fast. And so I think that kind of unintentionality happens with high performers just because they're not the problem child. Problem employees will need constant front of mind thought, and then the best performers, they'll fade away. They won't be the fire burning. Yeah. Because that's what makes them a really high performer.
Yeah, and I think like especially in this day and age of like think about at least in the US, the economy is not the best. So there's not like a huge incentive to try to make sure all of your employees are staying because like there just unfortunately are a lot of people looking for jobs. And so as much as they might be your quote unquote like go-to guy, gal, whatever employee, they might not get that full attention because, I mean, also the managers could be overworked.
Yeah, and I think retrospectively giving pay like that comment just mentioned, that's a slap in the face. Doesn't work. I think statistically more than half of people who have gotten retention bonuses have left in the next 12 months anyways. So if you as a company are not being proactive and not evaluating the market, like most companies and most managers then just don't burn that bridge with that employee either. Wish them farewell, and hopefully you spin and land in each other's circles again.
Yeah, no, I think that's great advice. Okay, story 2.
Is this one still managers?
Yeah, so this is like all managers.
Okay.
All of them are either like someone dealing with a manager or a manager needing assistance and like going to Reddit and asking for advice.
Which, by the way, I'm so surprised that people go to Reddit. Like, I have never thought to go to Reddit.
I'm curious, like, and put this like in the comments, like, have you or someone you know like gone to Reddit, particularly for career advice? Like, I don't think I would do that as a manager. I don't think I would do that as an employee. Like, I feel like my company should probably have some mentoring set up so that I don't have to go to Reddit.
I saw Reddit probably on the same manager subreddit where they asked, why are you guys on here? And they, I think that most highly rated comment was that you're just getting confirmation bias from other managers. But first of all, who on the internet is honest?
I mean, I try to be.
Yeah. But like, you could lie about being a manager and then go on the subreddit and give great advice. Like, I wasn't in a relationship and I was giving great relationship advice.
Did you follow up with those people? Do you know it worked out well? Okay, Katerina's just out on Reddit giving terrible advice potentially.
It's fantastic. It's 5 stars. 5 stars. Just delete all the bad reviews.
Yeah, if there's no bad reviews, then it must be great.
Yeah. Just shut down the feedback.
Well, this next story, I kind of like just reading these to you, like just by the title and like seeing your reaction. So this is also from the Our Managers subreddit, from Dramatic Chemist. High performing employee with bad reputation.
Oh, crap. I'm pretty sure that's me. Not the dramatic.
Are you a chemist? Are you a chemist?
Yeah, the bad reputation thing that hits home. Let's go.
All right, we'll see. We'll see. Looking for advice. Been a manager a few years, but with this team only a year. I have a high performing employee in terms of technical skill and work output. Oh my God, I forgot how to talk. It's fine. Skill level and work output. Company is experiencing growing pains, and a few employees feel overworked, especially this one. For the record, they're absolutely overworked, but I'm being told work can't slow down. This one is vocal about their concerns, regularly is negative in the workplace, and prone to emotional responses. They are professional when things are calm, but when stressed, not so much. I've gotten approval from more resources to help this year, but it seems like every time I make progress with senior leadership, this employee sets things back because of a side complaint to someone in leadership or directly emailing higher ups with less than polished and brutally honest communication. I worry they're going to hurt their own career path and also stress the team out further. Any recommendations?
So, number one, Mr. Chemist.
We don't know. We don't know if they're a mister.
Mister? It's probably a mister.
They just clarified that they're dramatic, but
yeah.
Probably. I mean, statistically.
I mean, this person decided that this employee already has a bad reputation. There wasn't anything to suggest that people have come to them in leadership with concerns.
Yeah.
I think that's really critical here. And then also there's a phrase in there that they're overworked and underpaid and they're complaining, which sounds like my team. But when you realize that it's better for people to complain than be silent, I think maybe you start appreciating that a little bit more. And so you've only been with this team for a year as a manager, but this person has relationships with those leaders enough to go and be honest with them and not be so optimistic. I would be more concerned when that person just stops caring, because then they're going to be the previous guy who went to a bigger company and got a bigger raise and was like, I'm just doing a career change.
Yeah, they're like, I just want different.
Yeah, I just want something different.
Yeah,
and I wonder, where did this come from?
I wonder how much of this is the manager caring about their reputation, because if I'm a manager coming in, I've only been there a year. I do have managerial experience, but I've only been there a year, and someone is going to like my bosses and is frustrated about something that maybe the manager feels they have no control over. I could see, like, I'm not justifying the behavior, but I could see a world where the manager's just like reacting negatively and feeling like they don't have any agency to do anything.
Yeah, and I think that's a really interesting point. So I come from open source technology. I've been in this industry for about 5 years, and meritocracy is a word that really gets thrown around a lot in a positive way mostly. And people being able to go to very senior leadership with very serious concerns that I, as a very hierarchical person, would never allow myself. I would never, I'm just assuming that these people with big titles get, more information and get the big bucks to like make good decisions, even if I don't understand them. But I really would agree with you. I think that person then, this manager, assuming that this individual's behavior is what's affecting them not getting headcount. Like, really? They went and complained, and all of a sudden, like, the whole strategy is not going to go forward. I think that that's really curious. I wonder if this employee is bringing up valid concerns that perhaps this manager is stopping from going up the chain.
Yeah, I think that's a good point of like, have they come to them? Because if I'm a manager and my employees are going to everyone but me about an issue, I wonder if there's a disconnect. I have seen this happen before, actually. When I worked as a consultant, there was someone who had been struggling a lot with like losses in their family due to COVID, and their performance like just wasn't what it could be. And I had a good relationship with them, and I ended up being the person that they like came to, and they're like, oh my God, Nora, like, you're just such a great manager. And I was like, I don't think it's that. Like, I just literally sat down and was like, what do you want to do? Like, how are you doing? How's your day? And I was able to kind of have these like blunt conversations that managers thought that they had with this person and like not. And they completely changed their performance because it was like, oh, I didn't realize these were the expectations. Like, I'll be more on top of my like work management and I will like make sure to show up for XYZ meetings. Like, these were very basic things. But sometimes the communication just isn't there.
Yeah, I think managers, like we said in the previous story,
Yeah.
they just don't want another fire, and a high performer won't be that person. I feel like there's a lot of context missing. This kind
Yeah.
of individual seems like someone who's more senior, who's been at the company for longer. Maybe they're from a country in the European Union that has workers' protections, so they can't be fired willy-nilly or laid off for this kind of behavior. I would love to hear how this turned out. This is very interesting to me.
I know. Sadly, I don't have an update, but I do have some pretty good comments. So from Skylark7, which this comment was from 2 days ago. So like this is pretty recent. And this post was from 2 days ago. So if you are the manager that posted this and you see our video, I hope our advice helps because I think that we have great advice.
Yeah, we know everything. Absolutely.
But Skylark7 said, sometimes you just have to let work slow down and force upper management to prioritize better. It's going to slow down anyway if you lose this employee. Better a 20% reduction in output than 100%.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Especially since you say that this person is fine and professional, but when they're stressed, they react. They've been stressed for this whole year that you've been there. Like, I can guarantee you that these resource constraints didn't just pop out of nowhere.
Yeah.
This is a very long coming problem. And we had situations in our team where we were working with budgets 3 fiscal years in a row trying to get more resources, and they never came. And the people are more and more and more stressed, and they act that way while, maintaining a certain level of professionalism. But I think those emotions, like you said, are really, really meaningful to a manager to just understand the overall like temperature of the team.
Yeah. And what I'm really curious about is like, has this manager really pushed back? Like they've said, oh, like we can't slow down work. Why? Like
They've been told
that they can't, but I think that's where like, especially with this like employee going and talking to like senior leadership, either like, first of all, who was the manager before? Why did they leave? Did they leave because this was the same issue?
They probably went to a bigger company.
Was that the other guy? The other guy left?
Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you. You
Yeah,
went somewhere that you can slow down work.
Yeah. Left your team though, like, come on.
I mean, okay, as much as like, yes, it is important as a manager to have like the back of your team. Sometimes you do have to be like, okay, I'm moving on to the next thing, because also being a burnt out manager is not productive.
Yeah. I'm in the situation where management can ask you to be optimistic. I keep using that word. This is like the second time I said it. Where they're asking you to be patient. They're asking you to be like kind and understanding. And as an individual, you need to recognize that it's always you and your integrity first, because the company will put itself first and the teams first. And so with this particular manager, if you are putting yourself first, you've only been there for a year, you do have something to prove. You do.
Yeah.
And you still have time to build those relationships with the team. Just be honest and maintain your individual integrity while also putting the interests of the company somewhere higher up on the priority list.
Yeah. I love exactly how you said it. Like, have the hard conversation.
Yeah.
It's not going to be fun, but you might come out in a better place. And if you really can't do anything about the workload, at least they're going to respect you and know that you have their back. And they're probably going to like stop talking to senior leadership as much.
Yeah, they'll
like
start
if
talking
you
to
are
you.
fighting for them, they're going to be like, "Oh, I'll just go talk to them. They have my back."
Yeah.
Even if they can't like fix everything now.
Exactly.
But I also think that we live in a day and age where every job thinks that they're like saving lives. And listen, I have done a lot of human rights work, a lot of women's rights work. And there's been like 2 situations maybe where like someone's life was actually on the line. Like, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. Mm-hmm. Like this, we need to calm down, especially some of these people that are like in marketing. I'm like, listen, It's fine. The graphic can wait till tomorrow. The email can wait till tomorrow. We need to calm down a little bit here.
Yeah. I definitely I would agree with that, especially when the world's already stressful.
Yeah, like that's where I think people miss it is that, and I've talked about this on the podcast before, where like life doesn't happen in a vacuum. Like you can't, maybe like the work for this employee is super, super stressful because also when they go home at the end of the day, everything is really stressful. Like I don't know where they live, but there's certainly some countries that it's kind of tense right now. It's stressful just going out and existing in the world, and having that going on top of everything else like is going to naturally stress you in the same way that like COVID was really stressful because you don't like the brain does not deal with uncertainty well.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a really interesting a theory in sociology, and it talks about like the 5 groups of a person's life, right? So they have their work, or if they're a student, their school. You'll have your romantic relationships, your family relationships, your hobbies, your interests, and maybe like spirituality or some kind of philanthropy or something like that. You can handle at most chaos in 1 or 2 of these places in order to maintain like the full picture of your life and still be pretty satisfied with it. If this person's job is stressful, which it is, that's been pretty established, then any other stressor in their life will put them into overdrive. And they're spending 10 hours, 12 hours a day at work, right?
Probably, yeah. I mean, they didn't say, but
like that,
yeah.
But at least 8 hours a day at work, 1/3 of their life, it's bound that stresses from other places will start to leak.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point. All right, on to our next topic. This is also from...
so easy. We're solving all the world's
We've
problems.
solved everything. Yeah. So this is also from the Our Managers subreddit. And this is from Velveteen's Noodle.
Oh, I love that name.
I have some questions. I don't think I want the answer to. So ideas for supporting a temporary remote work employee who doesn't have a track record of great remote work.
What is great remote work?
Please define great remote work. Actually, I think they do like a pretty good job of highlighting the issue.
Okay, let's do it.
I have an employee who is satisfactory at their job. Not a star, but not bad. I've noticed that they are much less productive when they're working remotely. Lots more procrastination and things delivered at the last moment or late. Lots less communication, and deliverables are worse because they didn't get interim feedback. They proposed working remotely for 1 to 2 months. They haven't specified why. And while it's in our policies that they can, I'm worried that they'll dig themselves into a hole. Any ideas for systems this person can use to hold themselves accountable while working remotely? It feels sort of infantilizing to ask them to send me a work plan, but they might need to.
Okay, so this is where you take that big pile of money they're paying you and that title and that management reputation, and you use it. And I'm sorry if that comes off as callous, but it is literally your job description to manage this person.
Yeah.
And while the expectation of working remotely does not mean sitting there at your desk for 10 hours a day, it does mean releasing a certain quality of work product within certain timelines. I've been a remote employee for 10 years. Okay, for anyone doing math, that's 5 years before COVID. Okay, I did it before it was cool. So I get it. I get that there's the 100-hour weeks and then there's the 20-hour weeks. It's an ebb and flow. But if you already have a pattern of behavior with someone, it is not unreasonable to both be a good leader, right? Give them the benefits that they need, right, to work from home for some reason, while also being a good manager and making sure that they're not causing problems with the rest of your team or with your leadership or with the projects that you're working on. But that doesn't answer the question, right? That's just like a little spiel. So I think that they specifically ask about like
well, okay, they say like maybe like a work plan or something.
Yeah. So this is what I think the best, we're going to be remote at a new company with a new project, we're kind of getting to meet each other plan my boss did in 2020. So we had a daily stand-up from the same time, right? Like 9 a.m. to 9:30. It was a global group, so that worked for everybody. Some days it was a 5-minute call where we're like, we good? We good. Some days it was 45 minutes where we did projects and we were bouncing tasks back and forth because someone was overwhelmed with something and someone wasn't. And some days it was an hour of us playing a virtual code games. Yeah, code names game. So I think fun. Every day, if you can check in with that person, either in the morning or in the afternoon, like, how are you? What do you need? What support do you need? Even for a few weeks, just to get started, I think that will really create a good cadence for you as a manager. And it's not micromanagement. I don't think it is.
I don't think so. Because I think the challenge could be that it's not everyone working remote. It's this person.
Exactly.
But I think if you have that conversation before they go remote, then it's fine. Because, and especially if you say, like, we're going to have a check-in for, I don't know, say like 30, 20 minutes maybe, every day of just like a quick hello, like what's, going on.
How can I support you? Yeah. What are you working on?
Yeah. Like if you feel like you need that in person or like some sort of contact versus like an email. And I think that's completely valid. But know that like you should also be like, okay, we have nothing to talk about. Like just, okay, like you can check in and do like a wellness check and just be like, how are things going?
Yeah, 5
because
minutes.
This is like a two-way street too, because maybe they feel like they're meeting the mark everywhere. And I see this a lot where people feel like they're meeting the mark, or a manager, feels like they're meeting the mark, but there's just like a lack of communication.
Yeah.
Which I know that feels like, I feel like I've just been saying like communication the entire time.
Yeah.
But I
talk to each other.
But I do think like we're humans.
Yes.
That's a big part of just being like, hey, like, how are we feeling about this? It can be like a 2-second conversation.
And the worst thing is when you think you're doing great, and apparently you haven't for weeks or months.
Oh my God, this is the worst feeling.
One told you.
Yeah, and it's like the same feeling of like if you eat food and there's something stuck in your tooth and you go around all day and no one's told you, you're like, you don't even like me.
Yeah, seriously. So like I think just having that face to face, like you said, the rest of the team isn't remote. Yeah. That will really create the space. And because you're talking to each other, you'll start to understand what else is going on in this person's life, where the patterns of behavior is the wrong word, but like where the patterns of their lack of knowledge are starting to shine, where you can guide them towards like a LinkedIn learning course or something like that. And it's that accountability with meeting with you every day, maybe later once a week or twice a week, that will give you the confidence as a manager that they're performing and you and your team aren't being let down, but also for them that they're still being supported despite that physical distance.
Yeah, and here's my question. If I could sit in a room with this person and just ask, what do you do in the office? Like, are you just popping by their cubicle all the time? Right. And that's why they're meeting their time frames?
Yeah.
Like,
are you actually
are you actually teaching them how to set timelines? And this is not like, if you're not, this is a lovely learning moment. We all have those. That was kind of the conversation that I referenced, or the employee I referenced previously. That was the thing of like, someone was just like checking in on them constantly. And I was just like, yeah, no, that's not normal for your like level at this company. You should be able to set a timeline, meet the timeline, and always set the timeline further out than when you can actually deliver the thing, so that you can either deliver it early, or like they said, where some of the products don't have feedback, like you need to be setting a standard, maybe like an SOP for all of your employees to be providing this, because maybe they just don't know they're supposed to be doing that.
Yeah. You said SOP. I'm like trying to figure out what that acronym stands for.
Standard Operating Procedure.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh. I mean, as a manager, if you don't have those, I mean, we don't call them SOPs. I call them processes.
You can call them
live in my head.
They live in your head?
It's a team of one here.
It's okay. I was like, well, if they're in your head, you need to write them down, because other people need to know them.
Yeah.
No, that's
in case I win the lottery and like peace out.
You could just why is that the setting?
I don't know. Again,
we could just blow up, make us go viral.
Yeah, let's do it.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I actually like this one comment that a user had that is kind of basically giving our advice, which is probably why I like it. Budget_pin5828 said, set clear expectations early on and team working agreements for when remote, because, this might also happen to other employees. And then SBI, which I've never heard this before, but situation, behavior, and impact. It's like a good way to talk through, for example, hey, hey, Greg, you had this like work product, this briefing due. This was the situation. You turned it in late. And so I wasn't able to review it. And so it went to the client late. That's like a great way to lay out a scenario. Like you can be specific in those conversations.
Yeah. And I think by having those connection points more often than maybe once a week or once a month or whenever your one-on-ones are, will create that continuity.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, remember this thing that happened a month ago? Right? That wasn't cool.
Yeah, like you need to have your procedures set out. And then when you're in the one-on-one, not in front of everybody, but when you're in the one-on-one, if this is like a reoccurring issue, have the conversation with, Greg, who I made up, and say, here's the situation that like literally just happened, and approach it not as like I can't believe you did this, but as a, hey, let's look at this very specific situation because I think this is exactly where you and I can improve together.
And proactively, you have another meeting coming up today. What are you going to do differently?
Yeah. See what's...
Can we review that deck right now?
So not SBI, it should be like, what would be... SBIC, situation, behavior, impact, change.
Ooh, yes.
I like that.
SBIC?
SBIC? Maybe we'll work on it.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's the next.
This is our final story.
Ooh, okay, let's go.
So this is
world hunger here.
We've solved 3 problems
at least.
So the last one is from our work advice. So this is the Reddit, the subreddit work advice from Cold Christini. That's funny.
I love it. We had Velveteen Noodle and now we're having a Christini.
Well, this is making me hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Boss says my availability is still 9, so he can schedule me for 13-hour days without my consent.
Wait, the availability is still 9? What does that mean?
I think it's time. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. This will make... basically, they can work until 9 p.m.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, it's not very clear in the title, but I think the description is like pretty good. And this one's a little bit different. We've been talking a lot about... being like in an office setting. This is not in an office setting. So I think it'll be a good mix. I am a BOH, so back of the house employee. So like restaurant, back of the house. And my EC chef, I think executive chef.
Ooh, restaurant. Let's go.
My chef schedules me from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. in the kitchen. However, my store manager wants me from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. on busy weekends because the front of the house doesn't have a strong food runner. And that was my original position I was hired for, but moved into the kitchen around 6 months ago. The store manager claims he can schedule me till 9 because my availability is 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., even though I have told him that my availability says that doesn't mean I can work 13 hours on the weekends, nor do I want to. To add a cherry on top, I don't get a break between those shifts. I'm going to speak with him, but would like some advice or any labor laws he's breaking that I can bring in the conversation.
Do they share a location?
Yes, it is MA, so Massachusetts.
Okay, I don't know those labor laws, but let me tell you, what is the number one kind of theft in the United States?
Wage theft.
It is.
I didn't know that was number one, but also that completely tracks.
So this is what you do, okay? Knowledge is power. You are going to look up the labor laws in your state. There are 2 kinds of overtime you can get. A daily overtime and a weekly overtime. For example, in the state of Colorado, if you work more than 12 hours in a day, you get overtime after 12 hours. In the state of Virginia, you don't have a daily limit. You have a weekly limit of more than 40 hours a week. That's when your overtime starts. In addition, you need breaks. In the state of Colorado, I used to live there, that's why I know. Every 4 hours worked, you get a 15-minute break. So a typical 8-hour shift, it's 4 hours, 15-minute break, 15-minute break, 4 hours, right? So that's where you get your break. Second, there needs to be someone in charge. I've worked in the service industry. I was a restaurant hostess. And while there was a back of house manager and a front of house manager, there was an actual manager responsible for scheduling. It is unreasonable for this employer to have for this individual to have two different scheduling managers, right? There needs to be someone in charge of overall scheduling. You know how I know? Because restaurants operate on a 5% margin on a good day. So they don't want to be paying you overtime.
Yeah.
So if they're trying to steal your wage by pretending you're like two different employees on two different systems, that is a really, really big concern. And unfortunately, as you head into that conversation, be ready not to have a job anymore because managers hate conflict, I guess.
No, this is like actually one of the comments. Is like, yeah.
You're gonna get fired.
773 driver says the strongest position in negotiating is the willingness to walk away, and the person you negotiate with understands you are serious. AKA, like, I'm happy to work here, boss, but I can be happy to work elsewhere too.
Yeah.
And like, you have to go into that conversation being like, no, but they also might come back, and I mean, I don't know how your contract is set up, but they might just be like, cool, bye. And so like I would maybe look around. I would maybe see what other
Obviously,
restaurants
this is a
are.
great person, like.
I mean, yeah, like the reason they want you is that you're good, and I feel like unfortunately in so many jobs the reward for being good at your job is more work but not being compensated for it. And like what are we doing in this economy? What are we doing?
And you can be creative. Like it's having that conversation as equals, which I think a lot of people struggle with, especially when someone with a title walks into the room. Like we just start to shrink. But as an employee, you interview the company as much as they interview you. You choose to work there and give them your time, and then they compensate you an equal value of that. So you walk into that conversation as a person with equal power, and you can be very creative with the way you solve this problem. Like, I know that working 13 hours a day is difficult, but would I take extra money? Sure. So they can put you as two positions in the system where in the back of the house you're making, I'm going to use salaries from like 2015, so apologies, this is gonna be terrible.
Hopefully it's different. I think what's gonna be horrifying is there's gonna be someone in the comments who's like, we still get paid that, and I'm just gonna like hate everything.
As a hostess, I think we were like at $235 plus tips. It came out to like $710. Anyways, let's pretend back of house you're making 10, and you can say, okay, I'll work the front of house, but it should be a 15 base, and then with overtime, if you qualify for that should roll up equally. So there's different things you can do that will solve this problem for them, because for some reason it seems like they don't want to hire a part-time help for those few 5 hours, 4 hours in the afternoons.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that it can be, so this was from like a month ago. I do think right now it is hard in the service industry to get reliable people, and like especially if it is like a runner, I could see that like maybe they're having people call out a bunch, maybe they're having people show up late, or again, this kind of could just be like an issue of sometimes when you see a lot of people rotating through a position, then maybe your store manager is kind of the problem.
I think so, especially if they don't respect you, to have that conversation and be like, hey, you're really doing me this favor. You know?
Yeah, like it seems like they're in a pinch, and I really struggle with managers that are like, oh my God, a situation that could have easily been avoided that has become a fire drill is now your problem, and you're like, I'm not the manager. Would you like me to be the manager? I could do that.
Yeah, I was in the event planning space for the first year of my career, and there was a note on someone's desk, and it's like, your lack of planning does not constitute my emergency.
Oh my God, I got like choked up. I've like heard that so much. I got too excited. I was like, yes, that's exactly it. Yeah, it does look like in the comments, someone gave some legal advice. I don't.
It's a legal question.
I mean, listen, this person's like username has the word grapefruit in it, so I don't really know if they're a lawyer.
Grapefruit. Tell Christine what to do.
Where does Christine? Well, it's a cold Christine, so maybe grapefruit is like ranked higher
in the legal profession. I think so.
I definitely think that's how it works as a non-lawyer who has never been in the legal field. I'm gonna definitely say that's accurate.
I think both of our significant others do have law degrees, though.
Yeah,
so we'll ask them.
We'll come back to you next episode. We'll let you know how
Massachusetts labor law, which, by the way, to wrap this up, you can go to them Like if you find out that you've been underpaid or you haven't been getting overtime, or if they continue to, do labor law violations, there is a Department of Labor with a really fantastic form, super easy to fill out, and then you'll get money maybe like 8 months later.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely like look at your options, but I would also keep in mind like if we start talking about like reporting and like legal issues, maybe have another job lined up.
I'm a very litigious person. It's very American of me, so it's my advice. What does grapefruit say though?
They say that there's actually nothing illegal about scheduling the double shifts. But you could also definitely say like you don't want to do it and request to change your availability on those days that you already work the mornings. In Massachusetts, however, it is illegal to not give you breaks. You're entitled to a 30-minute unpaid break for every 6 hours you work. I talked to the chef about this too, since the guy scheduling you for a full day probably needs you more than the guy scheduling you for a 4-hour shift. I'm going to preface this with, yeah, we're not lawyers, so we're not offering you legal advice. And maybe ask the grapefruit if they know a good lawyer. But it sounds like, I mean, just do some due diligence, do a little Googling and see if you can find the law in Massachusetts, because at a minimum, it sounds like you might be entitled to a 30-minute break that you're not receiving. And if you're working through that,
How much you want to bet they haven't been paying you for that time and you've been working it anyways?
I think it's likely.
It's very likely. You're entitled for all that back wage, by the way.
Yeah. So go do some research. And if you are the person who posted this on Reddit, let us know. Let us know if you get your money.
Retail workers, service workers, you guys hold this economy up. So please.
I mean, I have not forgotten that like they're essential workers.
Oh,
like I think a lot of people have like a really short attention span because of maybe social media, but I'm on social media way too much and I remembered that. So do better.
Yeah. So go you have the power, man. Do it.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this week's episode of The Head of the Table. As always, claim your seat at the table. Maybe claim some wages that have been stolen from you.
Especially in Massachusetts.
And so happy to have you here.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.